something for me. Over 42% of small businesses in our country are run by women. 1 in every 3 are run by moms. Also, think about this. A recent survey showed that 73% of parents said that their lives started when they had children. Yet, parenting is the biggest challenge in their lives. So wherever they are, there are moms in the workforce. They have their own businesses, whether they're in medicine, law, government, public service, and they are struggling with how to lovingly and carefully parent their children without losing themselves and their big dreams. Now, if you've ever struggled with that, I want you to say, my dreams matter too. And if you're really on board, type it in the chat. My dreams matter too. My name is Carol Milletta. I'm a parenting strategist and consultant. And when frustrated and discouraged parents come to work with me, they get their joy back. We create a parenting style that complements the personality of each child so we can restore order in the home, and moms and dads can breathe, and the children can break through to reach their full potential. Now, in the time that we're going to have together today, I'm going to share with you 2 points from my 5-step blueprint for women who want to scale up to the next level after they have taken a little time to focus on their children. Now, they may be stay-at-home moms, or they may still be launching their businesses, or they may be working for someone else, but they want to get to that next level. And what we're going to talk about is communication and compiling your assets. So today I am a parenting consultant and educator. I run a very popular parenting radio show. And in 2019, I was named the DC Mother of the Year by American Mothers Incorporated. They are responsible for Mother's Day. They've been around since the Civil War. But what that means for me today is that I am a part of a very big network with maternal energy, full of women who are committed to honoring, educating, and advocating for mothers and in the community and all of their work that they're doing. We support them. So I haven't always been running on all cylinders like this. Once upon a time, I was a mom with twin baby boys that I didn't know anything to do. I didn't know what to do with those guys. So I also felt like parenting was going to be easy. I know a lot of people think that before they have children. Well, that was definitely me. I thought it was going to be this fun summer camp where I was going to have these little guys eager to do whatever I told them. I mean, after all, as a marketing manager, I had run cross-functional teams, launched new products that I know some of you have used. All of that involved leadership and dealing with different personalities. So I mean, how hard could it be to get 2 little kids to do what I wanted them to do? Well, I think you know where this is going, because very soon, those children showed me that they came into this world with a mind of their own. So I had to slow down and pay attention and get to know who they were. Now, late into the first year of my son's lives, we learned that one of our sons had considerable developmental delays that were going to really require a lot of support. I can tell you we were first-time parents. This was shocking to us. We were worried. Like, what was his future going to be like? What was he going to be able to do? And the specialists that we were seeing, some of them were not very encouraging about what his potential would be. In fact, his preschool teacher said, He's always going to be like that. Well, we right away started trying to figure out what we needed to do for him. So we signed him up for speech and language therapist, occupational therapist, and other programs. We gave him the foundation, and honestly, it was a long haul. But I tell you something, he hustled. He worked hard in school, he worked hard with his therapist, he learned how to play the piano, learned how to play football, and was on a very winning team in high school. And guess what? Against the odds, he was accepted to 4 colleges, and he and his twin brother are now finishing up their junior year in college right on schedule. And honestly, I know that I would have missed the signs if I hadn't taken the time to tune in to my children and really pay attention. And so that's what we're going to talk about for just a moment. That's the first step in really building connection. Parents really have to commit to being available, attentive, and affirming. Now, right now, I know that we're spending a lot of time at home and we're feeling like it's easy to be present. I'm in the house, I'm in the room with them all the time. But I'm not talking about just being in proximity. I'm talking about being present. So let's start with being available. So if you really want to be available for your children when they need you, you've got to do one thing first. Put the phone down. I know that's hard, but we've got to do it. And next, you've got to have an open posture. Be ready. Look ready. Look interested in what they're about to tell you. The next step is to move all the physical barriers between you. So come on their side of the table. Come down to their end of the sofa. And let's not forget about those mental barriers, because honestly, sometimes we think we know exactly what our children are thinking. There's nothing new that's going to come out of their mouths, and we just think we know. But let me tell you something, you don't. So once you have set the stage for being available, now you can be truly attentive. And so when your child is speaking with you, take in the whole picture, not just what she's saying. What's her posture like? Is she talking faster than normal? Is she very animated? What's the energy like? Do those nonverbal clues line up with what she's actually saying? I have to tell you, it is truly worth it to invest this time in building a connection with your children because it opens things up. It allows you to impart the life lessons that we know all children will need for the rest of their lives. It also lays a foundation for a mutually respectful relationship. And I've got to tell you, when those teen years come, you'll be glad that you took the time and made this investment. And I have to tell you, I often tell parents, you can pay now or you can pay later, but you're going to pay. So why don't you start today? Now, I have to tell you that this really works. It's not something I just read in a book. It's not something that I just tell parents. It's something that I've lived. I want to show you something. Here is one of the best Mother's Day presents I've ever received from anyone. So don't tell my husband I said that, but I'm telling you the truth. This is just what it looks like. It's lip gloss. My son, for years, had watched me. He was only 8 years old, but he knew that I followed a ritual every time I left the house. I got into the car, pulled the car out of the garage, I stopped. Put on this lip gloss, put it away, closed the garage, pulled out of the driveway, and we were on our way. He knew I go nowhere without lipstick or lip gloss. And here's another gift. My other son, also 8 years old at the time, gave me this book. And as you can see, it is a book about Oprah Winfrey. Now, back in those days, I used to tape the Oprah Winfrey show. Yep, I used to tape it and watch it in the evening. I also used to talk about how much I admired what she did, not only in business, but in life and helping others. In that moment, I truly felt known and understood. And I made sure to tell my children that in those terms to affirm their act of kindness. Now, if you are interested in forming those kinds of connections, those kinds of special bonds with your children, I will tell you at the end of my talk how we can connect and you can be part of my community. Now, as I said, we already feel like we're home with our children during this pandemic. We're spending more time than ever, but are we really there? And they need us there, present, on purpose, more than ever, because they're processing feelings of disappointment, uncertainty, fear, and just what is going on if you kind of think about very recent events. And so they need us there, tuned in and ready to help them make sense of what's going on in the world. So next, you have to compile your assets. What do I mean when I think about compiling my assets? First of all, what are you good at doing? Are you happy doing what you're doing today? And very importantly, what are you doing today that's making a lasting impact? Now, if you're fuzzy on any of those things, then you might need to say to yourself, it's time for a change. Repeat after me, it's time for a change. Type it in the chat, time for change. So here's how I learned about this notion of taking stock of my assets. So as an undergrad student, I studied fashion merchandising. I was determined to slay the fashion industry. I landed a position in the management training program with the #2 department store in the country. If you could succeed there, then you could take those skills anywhere within the fashion industry. So I was very pleased to land that job. But one thing I forgot, the environment, the retail environment. So I was standing on my feet most of the day, in heels, running from department to department, authorizing checks, authorizing customer returns, and just other things that come up during the course of the day in a busy department store. Not to mention, I had my own department to run. I had to make sure it was staffed and stocked, visually appealing, so customers would buy and I could hit those numbers. It only took me 1 year to realize that the retail environment was not my scene. But I did take a moment to think, what was it that drew me to the field? Now, it goes without saying, the fashions, that was very important to me. But behind all of that, I enjoyed the research, the analysis, and the forecasting, the figuring out what people want before they even know they want it. So my next position encompassed all of that and none of that other stuff I told you that I didn't want to be part of. So within my first year on the job, I was managing a $17 million inventory program. And I was only 24 years old. So I have been using that approach ever since. And it helped me to make the transition from marketing manager to stay-at-home mom to parenting consultant to mother of the year. And I think that this will be very helpful for you. And as I said, it's only part of my 5-point blueprint for people, especially moms, who want to scale up for their next act. Now, Frederick Douglass said that it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So that is why it is so important to make those vital connections on purpose with our children. And if you have the aspirations to do something after you raise your children, to compile your assets, because it's so easy to feel like parenting just is all consuming and overwhelming. That's number one. And then number two, that you may not be able to pursue your dreams. Because after all, this is an 18-year undertaking at the very least. But we have to remember that parenting occurs in seasons. And every day that goes by, our children are one step closer to walking out the door. Not out of our lives, but to their independence. And so every day, we too should be scaling up just like they are. And so using my blueprint, you will be able to do that. Now, I want to share with you, I promised that I would tell you how you could connect with me, but I also want to share that I have a cheat sheet for building strong connections with your children as you scale up to your next act. So what you need to do is head on over to parentingwithvision.com/iconic. I'll say it again, parentingwithvision.com/iconic. There are no dashes, there are no underscores, but head over there and grab your cheat sheet and be prepared to scale up. It is my pleasure to give parents direction in what they say is the most important journey of their lives. Yet, it's not their only journey. Novelist George Eliot said that it's never too late to become who you might have been. Carol Milletta says, scale up to your next act. Do it today.